and welcome back. This is Audra from Homesteading in Idaho. Today we're going to be talking about how to plant lettuce. You've got your garden ready, you've bought your plants. Now what do? I have two varieties of lettuce today that we're going to be planting. First, a romaine, and the second is a leafing lettuce. So we're going to be planting two types of lettuce today. A couple things about lettuce. Lettuce does not like to be really wet. So for that reason, because I do some flood irrigation here on our property, this is actually going in my raised bed so that I can control how much water it's getting. If you're using the square foot method of gardening, you can put 4 lettuce in 1 square foot. If you're using a row or a block system, I'm going to be doing a little of both. I'm going to be having a row and in a block. So anyway, for a row and a block system, the plants need 8 inches between each other. Got your handy dandy tape measure. One of the things I do is I'll measure on my shovel and I will kind of put my thumb there, and now I know, from here to my thumb is 8 inches. So I'll go against the box. Let's see, we'll start on this outside wall. Come in. This is my first hole for my first lettuce. Leave my thumb there, come over, another hole. Same thing going this way. Same thing going that way. So you want your lettuce to have enough space that it has the room to leaf out. But if you give lettuce too much room, it kind of will take advantage of that. And it's totally okay to plant different types of lettuce together. That's why I have the romaine and the leaf lettuce that are going to be right here together. So I'm back in the garden. Turns out my camera lost some footage earlier of me showing you guys how to transplant. That was this morning. We're now in the evening. And as you've watched this video, or as you watch the video, you'll see why I prefer planting in the evening versus in the morning. So this is a leaf lettuce. This is a romaine lettuce. And here in the bed, you can see the romaine are kind of standing up, but they're pretty floppy. And that's because we reached about 72 degrees today and it was sunny. And these guys are a bit cooked. You know, they're just not happy, even though I transplanted them this morning when it was only 43 degrees. And the leaf lettuce, well, it looks really miserable. Okay, so I could show you guys the fancy garden, everything looks perfect, nothing's wrong, right? This is reality. Reality is you're going to transplant your plants, you're going to come back later and go, I have killed my plants. They look bad. Like, these look terrible. They're not dead. They're going to be just fine. So I've got these guys in my garden. I'm going to have rows of lettuce on this side. It could also be considered a block because these two rows are together, and I'll have a walking space right here where I can come into the garden and kind of walk in between them. Now with these rows, if you were doing square foot gardening, you would do 4 lettuce, whether it's the leaf lettuce or the romaine lettuce, heading lettuce, whatever, 4 of them in a square foot. Here, we're going to be doing it a little bit differently. Every 8 inches from the wall or from each other is a lettuce. So I am going to save just a couple of these to do in my square foot gardening. But I've still got 4 in each tray. So I'm going to take 2 more out of these. And if you don't know your measurement, have yourself a handy dandy tape measure. Measure out your 8 inches. Put your thumb there. Put the shovel at the middle of the plant you've planted. Your thumb is going to show you where your next hole should be. You're going to dig your hole so that the plant is going to fit up there up to about its neck. You don't want to bury your lettuce. And I know I've probably got just a little bit more than 8 inches between them on these rows, and I'll show you why. Because we're going to do a little bit of companion planting in here as well. Now, if my soil was super duper hard and compacted, I would be digging a bigger hole, really loosening it up. I'd grab a handful or 2, whatever's needed of vermiculite or perlite, put it in there, mix it in really, really well to allow that soil to not be as compacted. That'll allow drainage, because lettuce does not like to have wet roots. They get very upset. So taking these guys out, you're going to give a little bit of a squeeze There's a spot in the bottom. It's meant for drainage, but guess what? Put your finger through there. The soil pops up a bit and collect that plant right into your hands. The bottom has rooted around itself. It's a bit root bound. Take your finger, just gently pull apart the bottom. Loosen those roots. That's going to encourage this plant to spread out in here and grow much better. Otherwise, sometimes you'll have a plant that will continue to spiral around itself. So this way, we're going to encourage that plant to root really good. Now, because these guys have had a little bit of issues with the sun today, I'm going to remove these leaves that are upset and curled, but that leaves most of the rest of this plant. Into the hole it goes, just like that. I plant just around the base of that plant. You don't want to go to the very, very base, but you want to give it a little bit of support, but don't bury the plant. It'll be unhappy. So we'll go to a leaf lettuce here, same thing. And the reason you don't grab the plant like you're strangling it is because you could literally tear the plant away from its roots. And these leaf lettuces like to hold on to each other. Put that guy in there and support him. Because he's just a little bit floppy, I put him in there first before I trimmed off a couple leaves. Now you can do what's called chop and drop in your garden beds, where you chop something, drop it in your bed. It's not going to hurt your bed. It's going to keep the soil fed, so you keep feeding your soil. So take my measurement here, come again. Now what I look for in the store when I'm buying these plants, I want them to look good. I want them to be healthy. I don't want to purchase a plant at full price that, like these guys look kind of sad, but that's because they've been a little bit stressed out here today. But if it looked like this in store, I'm probably going to avoid this plant and get a much healthier looking plant. Now I'll tell you a trick though, if you're saving money, can't afford the price of full price plants, whatever, most places, somewhere hidden, is like a knockoff bin where you can get your plants for nothing, like $1 for a package of plants, $1 for some of the bigger ones that are usually a lot more than that. And John and Henry and I, we like to hit up the knockoff dead plant bin. Now these guys are pretty big, and what we're finding in store right now is actually these little dudes. So these little dudes, I just got these today so I can show you guys. You got like, this one's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little bits in it. And this package is kind of interesting. In each cell, so one of these is a cell. Each cell I've got like 2 in this one, 5 in this one, about 4 in that one. So that's a lot of lettuce. And I'm going to very carefully remove these and see if we can't separate them, and we're going to get more for our money. So this package was $1.99. Give it a gentle little squeeze. See if we can't convince these little dudes to come on out. So I don't know if you guys can see that, but there's 4 or 5 little seedlings in this. So we're going to very carefully see if we can't peel it apart. It's really root bound. They've really bound up on themselves. So I'm going to loosen the bottom a bit and hope I'm not going to mess these guys up, because these are some serious roots for these little guys. Lettuce isn't too picky and finicky about being messed with. Like cucumbers are the worst. You touch their root, you pretty much killed the plant. Not really, but cucumbers are drama queens. They do not tolerate. See, there's 2 of them together. I'm going to leave those 2 together. They're too close together to separate. But see if we can't separate a couple more here. Mosquitoes are out. Here we go. Look at that. I've got 3 groupings, 5 plants, but 3. So I've got more than what I paid for. Or, I mean, I paid for them, but you're going to get more for your buck. These little dudes are going to get the exact same spacing as everybody else. You don't have to dig your hole as deep, though. Now, the one thing I wish I had, but because of all this fun stuff going on, can't seem to get my hands on it right now, but I wish I had what's called Agribond or a row cover to protect these guys, because when they're this small, birds are greedy and will try to take your lettuce. They'll come and strip them. So I'm hoping that the birds will avoid my garden and leave these alone. So there we go, we've got those planted. So I'll finish planting these here in a little bit, but I want to talk a little bit about companion planting. Now, in a month, we will be past our spring frost date, which means it's safe to put things out that do not like frost. One of my favorite things to put out here that will not tolerate frost is basil. Basil will drive away other pests. And so I would put like a basil plant like in between a cluster of 4. Not every 4, but like say 1 here, maybe 1 in the middle and 1 at the end. Or I would put like a basil, a thyme, and a sage or a rosemary, because it makes the pests want to go away. Or even marigold flowers. It drives the pests away. They don't like the brisk smell of those herbs. But I've still got a month. So with a month, picked up a package of already growing beets. So let's put some beets down the very middle of these guys. Beets can be grown, if you want decently sized beets, you can cluster grow beets every 12 inches. A cluster of 3 or 4 beets every 3 or 4 inches. 3 or 4 beets in a cluster means grown together about every 12 inches. And this one's got 2 beets in it. So I'm just going to gently convince their roots to come apart just a little bit here. And yeah, you're going to tear them apart a little bit. I mean, you don't want to destroy them, but see that? You're going to do a number to their little roots. So this is 8 inches. We'll just go right here in the middle. There's a 12-inch hole, or a 12-inch gap. Open that up, put those beets in there. Now, the fun part is while we're waiting on the beets to be edible, we can actually eat the greens. So just like your lettuce, where you pick from the outside, these outer leaves, you leave the little dudes in the middle. So like on this romaine, these little leaves, leave them. Your bigger leaves on the outside, pick those. That's for salads, wraps, whatever. Same thing with your leafy lettuce like this. Well, you can do the same thing with your beets. Leave the tiny leaves in the middle and leave more than 1 or 2. They need some leaves to be able to keep growing. But take your bigger leaves, take them off. Throw them in a salad. So we're going to do another one. These beets were kind of cool. It was a different variety. It's called a rainbow beet. So what all it is a variety of beets in there. Reds, golds, looks like some whites, and some purples. So we'll see what we get. I saw a root on that that's red, so that means we've got at least 1 red or purple beet. Here we go. Now something else you can do. Because we've got a month, why don't you plant some radishes? Radishes can be grown in a cluster of 3 every 4 inches. Okay, so this is a little spot here in between these lettuces. Here's another one. Another one. Another one. Take your seeds out. These are from Seed Savers Exchange. It's called the plum purple radish. So sprinkle 3 or 4 seeds in your hand. Go right to the hole. They don't need to be buried too deep. Just kind of sprinkle them in the hole and then gently cover them. They don't need a lot to be covered. Like 1/4 of an inch is all you want. since I'm here, I'll go ahead and put a beet in that spot. You know, if these had really bad leaves, like these red or these yellow leaves, it's because they got hot while they were in the greenhouse at the nursery. Usually I would trim them off, but because these have so few leaves, I'm actually going to leave them on for now so that that plant can maybe still use that leaf to support itself. So this will give you guys an idea of what you can grow in honestly very little space. In this row, or just lost the other name. So in this long row here, I can be here, I can reach across. It's far enough that I can reach across and take care of everything in here. I'm growing 3 types of lettuce. I've got romaine, I've got leaf, and I've got another type of, what was this little dude? Just a lettuce blend. You know, they're just a small lettuce blend. So those packages were $1.99 each. They're $6. The beets were $1.99. They're $6. I'm probably getting, it's not a lot. It's like 8 beets out of the whole thing. But I'll be able to eat the greens. I'm not just eating those beets. I'm eating the greens of the beets. Then the radishes were, let's see, I got these actually half off. So these were probably $1.50, and they're about $2.99 regularly. And there's a lot of seeds in there. I can plant quite a bit. So, because I bought these pre-started, I can start eating these in a week. I'm gonna let them grow for a week, maybe sooner if they do really well. I can even start harvesting beet greens probably within a week. They will take off really, really well. And then I'll also be eating radishes. In time, for summertime in a month, remove the beets and radishes. The beets might stay a little bit longer, but the radishes will be done. And I'll put in some summer crop, my basil, and I could put some onions. I could put onions through here, a middle row of onions. The possibilities are endless. Well, hopefully I have answered as many questions as possible on growing lettuce. I'm sure I've missed something. If you have a question, please, please, please ask. I'm not going to judge you. I see that all the time where people will ask questions about gardening and they get their heads ripped off for asking a stupid question. There is no stupid questions. We are all learning. I've been doing this for so many years and I still will see a question asked and I'm like, that makes you think. So please, if there's something I haven't hit on or maybe I touched on it, but I didn't explain it enough, let me know. We could totally talk about it. I'll make you your own video, you know, on something that you're interested in. But please, 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 ask questions. But number 1, just plant. Get gardening. If you fail, try again. It's not going to hurt to just keep trying, keep playing. You would be surprised at how many failures I have underneath my belt. How many times I have failed. But when you succeed, it's the most amazing feeling in the whole world. And right now, everybody needs to be trying. Everybody has got to put their best foot forward and give this a shot. Because this doesn't look like a lot, but you'd be surprised at how many salads, how many meals you can make with lettuce. Yep, it's great for a salad. I dehydrate them and sprinkle a little salt on them. Lettuce chips. You can take these, dehydrate them, and grind them up for smoothies. The point is, now is the time to be gardening. Now is the time to be growing your own food. If you have never ever done it before, I want you to try, and I want you to reach out and ask questions.